Okay, so we will continue with our discussion. We have discussed till Lord Canning. So during Lord Canning's period, we have discussed about 1857 revolt. Okay, so we have discussed about the causes and everything. The outcome was more important. We have discussed the outcome, which was seen in short term, and also the long term corrective measures. Also, we have discussed. All of you, please turn off your mic. Okay, so the long-term corrective measures also we have discussed. Like I have told you, they started changing their army strategically, right? So it was like 1:7 for 7 Indians. It was like one English soldier, and it has to be changed to like 1:1 or to the maximum 1:2, and the most important post and positions are given to Europeans only. And one more thing that I've discussed is they started taking Muslims as their number one enemy after the 1857 revolt. Okay, the reason also you understood the reason, you can see the contribution or participation from huge number in terms of Muslim leaders, right? We have discussed about Maulana, a lot of Maulavis and Maulanas, Maulavi Pir Ali, Maulavi Ahmadullah. So we have discussed about many people in the discussion who are from Muslim side. So that's the reason why English started taking Muslims as their number one enemy after the 1857 revolt. And in fact, this is the beginning of this divide and rule actually. So they started giving the most important positions and posts to the Hindus. And this again you can see after 1905, after the partition of Bengal, when the Swadeshi movement is there, it was the Hindus who was going against the English. So the English again will change the strategy, and they have started taking Hindus as their number one enemy after this 1905, and that we will discuss. Okay, so that's about Lord Canning, and we have discussed about the Better Government Act which was passed, and we have discussed about the Indian Council Office which was set up. The British Crown took the governance, the control, and we have discussed about the post of Viceroy which was created. And we have also discussed about the Queen's Proclamation, and I've told you it was a gentlewoman promise which was kept till 1947. So regarding that, I have discussed about something which is going to happen in 1877, Delhi Darbar. I will be discussing about this today in this session. So this is what we have done. And after Lord Canning, we need to discuss about in 1863, not much important, two acting governor generals. So acting governor generals, they come and go. So Monson and Robert Napier. I've already told you from our discussions before that there is no fixed tenure for Governor General. Some will come for, you see, Warren Hastings was there from 73 to 85, right? 12 years was there. So some will come for few months. Again, after that, 1786 to 93, Cornwallis. But Cornwallis will come again for few months. John Shore was for 5 years, right? So there was no fixed tenure like the prime minister and the president, etc., that we have now. It was like they come and they go. Okay, there is no fixed tenure. So here, this is for few months, two acting governor generals. Okay, Monson and Robert Napier, but we have nothing to discuss from them from the exam point of view. As we confine to the exam point of view, there is nothing much to discuss during this period. So the next governor general that we need to discuss is Lord Lawrence. Lord Lawrence, and the time period is 1864 to 69. Okay, so this 5 years. Now here, one event that we can mention is 1865. There was Anglo-Bhutanese War. Anglo-Bhutanese War. So one point that you need to remember here is after 1857 revolt, the Queen's proclamation, in that the Queen made the promise that there will not be any further annexations, right? So they are not going to annex the princely states or anything. So they are not interested in annexation also. Whatever they have, they are happy with it. Now here, then, why they are fighting against Bhutan? You will see Anglo-Afghan War also. One we have seen before. Now one more you will see. Okay, so why I've told you at that time itself when I've discussed about Anglo-Afghan War, it is basically to keep these states as the buffer state. For example, if you have a control over Bhutan, you can check any invasion from Japan. Japan is getting very strong. and you will see that in during the Second World War, the impact of this. Okay, so if you have a control in Bhutan, Myanmar, etc., you can actually check any invasion from Japan. Japan is getting superpower from that side. Also, if you have control in Afghan, you can check any Russian invasion. So that is the reason why they are interested in these states, just to keep as buffer states. Okay, and even though they have beaten the Bhutanese king, but they allowed the Bhutanese king to continue. But the fact is, he will become a puppet in the hands of the British. Okay, so it is basically they are fighting these wars against Bhutan, Afghan, etc. What is the purpose? To keep them as the buffer state. So that is evident that even after beating the Bhutanese king, they allow the king to continue. But obviously, you will be continuing, but by surrendering the sovereignty. And that is what we have discussed in the context of Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. Tipu was never interested in surrendering the sovereignty. Instead, rather than signing the treaty, he went for the war and he died. And that's why I have told you, Tipu's death in history is known as an honorable death than a dishonorable pact. That we have discussed already. Okay, so that's about Lord Lawrence. Only the Anglo-Bhutanese War, which I want to discuss. Then next Governor General is important. 1869 to 72, Lord Mayo. Okay, now from here, next four Governor Generals, let's say coming four Governor Generals will have 4-year tenures. So it is easy for you to remember from 72 to 76, then 76 to 80, then 80 to 84, 84 to 88. And here the Congress formation will come. So from Mayo, it is very easy for you to remember the Governor General's name. All these are important for some reason. This period is important for maybe one reason. They are mostly social. This is some reactionary policies. This some reforms. Okay, and this is for Congress. So all these are important. This is also important. So these 5 Governor Generals, some events are actually happening. Something which is important for the exam is there. Okay, so when we discuss about Lord Mayo, the first point that we need to discuss under Lord Mayo is the financial distribution between center and the provinces started. Okay, so financial distribution between center and the states started for the first time. So it is for the first time the financial distribution between center and state started. So it can be asked as a prelims question, who among the following Governor General started the financial distribution between the center and the state? You will get options like Lord Cornwallis, Lord Dalhousie, Lord William Bentinck, Lord Canning, okay, Lord Mayo, etc. So you need to pick for Lord Mayo. So Lord Mayo started the financial distribution between the center and the provinces. Okay, so that is the first point. That is again very important point. Second point is related to the census. So he started the first census in 1872. Okay, so understand this word clearly. I'm talking about the first census. Who started the first census? It is Lord Mayo. When? In 1872. But this was not regular all India census. Then the question is, who started regular all India census? It is Lord Ripon. Okay, Lord Ripon, regular all India census that I'll discuss after this, and that was in 1881. So from 1881, why it is regular? Because after every 10 years, then there will be census, and it is all India. So regular all India census for the first time, Ripon 81, but first census it was by Mayo 1872. So I hope that point is clear. So financial distribution between center and states, 1 point. Second point is related to the first census. Now the third point that we need to know from Mayo is actually he set up 2 Mayo colleges. 2 Mayo colleges. One was in Ajmer. Okay, you know where is Ajmer? Ajmer is in Rajasthan. The other was in Kathiawar. Okay, in Gujarat. So one was in Ajmer and the other was in Kathiawar. So 2 Mayo colleges. Now what is the objective of this Mayo colleges? These are modern colleges. Okay, modern colleges. But is it for everyone? No, it is not for everyone. These are for the princes and the princesses of royal families. Okay, so if you remember, 1798, we have discussed about Fort 1798 or 18, yeah, 1800. We have discussed about Fort William College, which was established by Wellesley. But 1802, it was closed. And I've told you the objective was to train the newly appointed civil servants, okay, in the local languages like Hindi and Urdu. That is Fort William College. Here, the two Mayo colleges objective is basically to train the princes and princesses of royal families. Okay, so here it was for civil servants, here it is for the princes and princesses of royal family. So no need to make any confusion here. So that's about the third point. Now the fourth point, and that is again very one of the interesting point, that the Lord Mayo was the only Governor General who was killed in India. The only Governor General who was killed in India. So if you remember before also I've discussed a similar point like this. The only Governor General who was accused of a murder case, that we have discussed under Lord Warren Hastings when we discussed about the case of Nanda Kumar. There was a Bengali trader, his name was Nanda Kumar. He accused Warren Hastings in a corruption charge. Later, Nanda Kumar was hanged in a fabricated case, and in that context, Lord Warren Hastings was tried, but he was left free without any evidence. So here also, this, when we discuss about Lord Mayo, the only Governor General who was killed in India or by an Indian, okay, where when he visited Port Blair. Port Blair is actually the capital of Andaman Nicobar Islands, okay, when in 1872. So that anyway you will understand from here. So he was the only Governor General who was killed in India by an Indian. He was actually the who killed Mr. Who killed Sher Ali. Sher Ali was actually a Pathan convict. Pathans, when you talk about Pathans are actually Eastern Iranian ethnic group. Okay, and they actually have some population in Afghanistan, Pakistan, India. Okay, so these are Eastern Iranian ethnic group, and most importantly, they are the. This person was actually a Wahhabi leader. Okay, and if you remember, I've told you after the 1857 revolt, when 1857 revolt got suppressed, this people, the Wahhabis, got suppressed like anything. And if you remember 1857 revolt, that time also I've told you, Wahhabis played a very crucial role in 1857 revolt. They were much more organized than the other armies or anything, right? So Wahhabis and their ideologies we will discuss when we discuss about socio-religious reform movement under Wahhabi movement, okay? And how this movement got suppressed and everything we will cover. But the point here is, Sher Ali was actually a Pathan convict. So he was one of the Wahhabi leader. And this actually shows what? The anger and the anguish that the Wahhabis had against English. Why? Because they got suppressed. And there was some famous trials also like Patna trial, Ambala trial, okay, etc. So we will discuss about that Wahhabi trials and all later in socio-religious reform movement. So these are the points that I need to discuss under Lord Mayo. First point is related to financial distribution between the center and the states. Who started? Lord Mayo. First census, Lord Mayo, 1872. But the first regular All India census, Lord Ripon, 1881. And two Mayo colleges, Ajmer and Kathiawar, for the princes and princesses of royal families. And the only Governor General who was killed in India was Lord Mayo by Sher Ali. Okay, so as I've told you so this is from 69 to 72, right? Now 72 to 76, then 76 to 80, 80 to 84, 84 to 88. It is very easy for you to remember 4 years for the next 4 Governor General. And the 72 to 76, Lord Northbrook. Okay, so 72 to 76, 1872 to 76. And only one point which I need to discuss here, that is related to social reforms. In fact, I have told you till 1857, if you see so much of reforms we can discuss, right? We have discussed about anti-sati resolution. We have discussed about widow remarriage act. In fact, these two are one of the two most important reasons for 1857 revolt. When we discussed about 1857 revolt, that time also I've told you under socio-religious reform or social religious reasons, Anti-Sati Resolution and Widow Remarriage Act actually annoyed the upper caste Hindus, and that turned upper caste Hindus against the English, because they started thinking that the Britishers are unnecessarily interfering their religion. So anything goes against religion, that is going to create problem for sure. Okay, so this we have discussed already, Anti-Sati Resolution and Widow Remarriage Act, and also we have also seen like ban on female infanticide related to the Rajput caste, and we have also discussed about ban on human sacrifice. So much of reforms we have discussed, and I've told you after 1857 revolt, they have realized that if you go and do something against the religion, it is going to affect you very badly. So from 1857 to 1947, you cannot see any such reforms. And the exception is here, you can see something in 1872. Okay, that is the exception. One reform you can see in 1872 that is related to the Universal Marriage Act. Universal Marriage Act, 1872. Okay, so under this, mainly 2 points is what we need to discuss. Firstly, intercaste marriages. Intercaste marriage got legalized. So we have already discussed many times about the marriage rules in India. What is the marriage rule in India? Let's suppose this is a caste. I'm taking Brahmin caste and also the near caste, that is a Kshatriya caste. So what is the marriage rule in India? This is intercaste, between caste. It is prohibited, right? So caste exogamy. Okay, so caste exogamy is allowed or not? Caste exogamy is not allowed. You cannot marry outside the caste. It is not allowed. So what is allowed? You have to marry inside the caste. This is what you call as caste endogamy. So this is the rule. Here I am not discussing about the clan exogamy that we have already discussed. So you can see here there were different gotras, right? So the members of gotras, they consider the same ancestor, same person as the ancestor, or the members are the descendants of same ancestor. So actually marriages within gotra is not allowed. You have to marry outside gotra. This is what you call as inter clan or clan exogamy. So typically the marriage rule in India is this caste endogamy, that means marry within caste, clan exogamy, that means marry outside the gotra. Okay, but what happened is here this is legal, this is not allowed, so it got legalized. That means if you qualify the conditions, if you possess the proper marrying age and everything, then intercaste marriage is permitted, and in case of any problem the state will protect them. That is what the intercaste marriage. Okay, so that is a main point that I need to discuss here. Universal Marriage Act, intercaste marriage got legalized. So I hope you understood the marriage rule in India. The caste endogamy means marry within caste. Clan exogamy, marry outside the clan, because in the clan all the members are the descendants of same ancestor. So you all are related one way or the other. So you should not marry from here. You should marry from outside. So this was a marriage rule, and now caste exogamy is allowed. That is what you mean by intercaste marriage got permitted. So that is the first point. Second point under Universal Marriage Act is related to age of consent. Age of consent means the minimum age that a female, the lady, need to have a relationship with a male. Okay, so that is the age of consent, and it was 10 till then increased to 12. So you can see how 10 was the age of consent that time, and it was increased to 12 for age of consent. That is the second provision. So this is the first one and this is the second one. This two is what you need to remember. And now if you see what is the age of consent, age of consent is actually 16, but age of marriage is 18. So there is a contradiction, but we don't want to discuss about that. The point here is age of consent from 10 to 12. Okay. Now, after this, next Governor General, Lord Lytton.